But first this morning on Weekend Today, North Queensland is bracing for more flash flooding with heavy rain forecast across the already saturated region. Relentless rain, also strong winds, Lizzie, wreaking havoc.
Yeah, they are. Extra safety crews, police and boats are being sent to the area from the southeast ahead of what the Queensland Premier has warned will be another severe weekend of weather. 9 Queensland's Claire Todd-Hunter has the latest for us. Claire, this is really testing locals.
It really is, Lizzie. It's been over a week now of deluge, deja vu for those communities up in North Queensland. Extra SES volunteers, police, swiftwater rescue teams and boats as well now stationed up north from the southeast to try ease the workload for those emergency personnel who have been going at it now for over 8 days. Those communities still not catching a break from non-stop rain. I just got off the phone with the Bureau of Meteorology, speaking to a meteorologist who tells us there are a dozen flood warnings in place all the way from Mackay up to the far north this morning. Half of those are major flood warnings. The Horton River south of Townsville, the biggest concern. They've already had 143 millimetres of rainfall at South Townsville. Just overnight, 131 mils at Garoo as well, with some high rainfall totals expected today. Sandbagging happening again late yesterday in anticipation of what's expected to be up to 250 millimetres of rain this weekend to cities and towns already impacted like Townsville, Cardwell and even Ingham as well. Meantime, some discussions are continuing this weekend on how to get supplies to those areas that have already been cut off.
Claire Todd-Hunter there for us. Next up this Saturday, the prosecution in Sam Kerr's racial harassment trial has made its closing arguments as the Matildas star's teammates jump to her defence. 9 Europe correspondent Jessica Millward was in court and has more.
Well, it was a roll call of football stars who gave character references in support of Sam Kerr today on day 5 of her racially aggravated harassment case. Among those to vouch for the Chelsea football star, former teammate and close friend Carly Talbot, who told the jury, "I would not describe Sam as an arrogant person, far from it. I think I would like to describe Sam as an introvert-extrovert. Away from the pitch, she's quite reserved, quite shy." Emma Hayes, the former Chelsea manager, submitted a reference that was read in court, as did other football stars Millie Bright and Erin Cuthbert. The judge gave his final directions to the jury, made up of 8 women and 4 men, telling them one of the key questions they must answer is whether Sam Kerr intended to cause the UK police constable harass, alarm or distress when she said this. In his closing arguments, the prosecution told the jury that justification for comments is not a defence, that the comments were an insult delivered in reference to race. This trial was slated to go between 4 and 5 days. It will now drag into a second week. It should only be a few more hours before the jury goes out to deliberate, and then it will be up to them to decide whether or not Sam Kerr is guilty.
A double by-election could spell disaster for Victoria's Labor government as voters head to the booths in Werribee and Prahran. Let's go live to 9 Melbourne reporter Mimi Becker, who is in Werribee. Mimi, Labor's so-called safe seat there might not be as secure as they hope.
Good morning, Lizzie. As you say, this will be a real test for the Labor-Allen government and Premier Jacinta Allen's leadership. But what is on the party's side is history, as Labor has held the seat of Werribee for 45 years. But some residents here say they now feel neglected and feel the time for change. Recent polling in the region does show Labor's support plummeting. Now, the by-election was sparked by the resignation of the Treasurer, and Labor is fielding a local school teacher candidate, while the Liberals have put forward a real estate agent who works here but doesn't live here. 9 News has been keeping across the by-election and has caught up with some voters who came out early to head to the polls.
We haven't had nothing done in Werribee for years and years.
People are over it. School drop-off, we've got clogged roads, we go from dual lane to single lane. You know, the crime rate's not good.
Everyone's asking for change, all the locals are after change.
Now, this is a double by-election in Victoria, not only the seat of Werribee but also the seat of Prahran heading to the polls today. Labor isn't fielding a candidate there. That will be hotly contested by the Greens and Independents. Voting is set to open at 8 a.m. Lizzie.
Mimi Becker there for us, thank you. A violent altercation between 4 people in a cemetery has ended with a man being stabbed in Sydney's southwest. The 30-year-old was walking through the grounds with 2 friends just before midnight at Mays Hill when police say a fight broke out with another man who was camping there. A 29-year-old was arrested and charged shortly after, while the alleged victim was taken to Westmead Hospital in a stable condition. South Australia's $500,000 shark attack mitigation package will provide no benefits to regional communities, according to a local MP. Member for Narungga, Fraser Ellis, says the Shark Task Force decision to fund Surf Lifesaving to deliver the program was ridiculous, as it would only benefit metropolitan Adelaide and the southern coast. Australia's Defence Minister Richard Marles has arrived in Washington to meet Donald Trump's Defence Secretary in a high-stakes AUKUS meeting. Let's go live to US correspondent Jonathan Kersley, who is there. Jono, there's a lot on the agenda today.
Yeah, there is, and this is a talk at a crucial time when world leaders are scrambling to Washington DC to meet with the Trump administration. Just moments ago, these pictures just in of Richard Marles, Australia's Defence Minister, arriving at the Pentagon to meet Donald Trump's Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth. They will discuss the AUKUS arrangement in particular. Australia likely to confirm that $500 million as part of a $3 billion pledge to boost America's submarine production has been transferred now to the United States of America. That will satisfy the Trump administration, which is largely all about making sure that countries pay their bills. The Defence Secretary and Defence Minister are expected at Arlington Cemetery, not too far from where we are later, to lay a wreath. The Defence Minister also meeting with a key congressman up on Capitol Hill earlier today. But this meeting coming at a time and on the same day when Japan's Prime Minister Ishiba has met Donald Trump at the White House. They have just fronted a joint news conference together trying to express a very warm relationship that both men said was essentially focused on security of the Indo-Pacific, an issue that is key and crucial to Australia's backyard. Japan has said it will be increasing its own defence expenditure, that it wants much closer ties in order to try and keep Australia's backyard much safer. Also saying that they want to commit to the denuclearisation of North Korea and the Korean Peninsula. That is significant given the close ties Donald Trump has had with North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. This is what both the President and Japan's Prime Minister had to say just a short time ago.
The military cooperation between the United States and Japan is one of our closest security partnerships, and it's one of the closest we have anywhere in the world.
That the United States and Japan will make further efforts in a wide range of areas, working hand in hand together to realize a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Lizzie, I think what you're seeing today from the Defence Minister Richard Marles' presence here in Washington DC is the desperate effort from Australian officials particularly to have face-to-face contact with the Trump administration. First it was Foreign Minister Penny Wong a couple of weeks ago, the day after the inauguration, and now Defence Minister Richard Marles. Next week Donald Trump is expected to welcome Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Jordan's King Abdullah. It's key that clear leaders around the world are trying to get an assessment of Trump administration 2.0.